Too often, people go years with their basic finances in chaos. No emergency fund, credit card debt climbing, one unexpected expense away from financial disaster. Now, society tells you the myth that wealth comes from finding the right investment, the perfect side hustle, or the secret strategy that rich people don't want you to know. Get-rich-quick schemes dominate social media because they feed our desire for immediate transformation. Why build something slowly over time when you can supposedly 10x your money overnight by buying this one stock or this one crypto coin? But here's what nobody wants to tell you really, every financial empire built on weak foundations eventually collapses, right? It's not about earning more quickly, it's about preserving what you have and building slowly. Fast rises often lead to fast falls when foundations are weak. If you picture an oak tree as an example, the oak tree grows slowly, right? It develops deep roots before reaching towards the sky and growing strong. Your wealth journey should follow the same kind of natural law of growing slowly via having deep planted roots first. Welcome back to the Zain YouTube channel. I'm a qualified accountant who talks all things personal finance and self-development. I went from struggling to support both my parents financially and being in debt to being debt-free in 2 years and well on the way to building lasting wealth. Today I'm going to talk about 3 principles that will hopefully transform your approach to money. Number 1, why foundations must come before growth. Number 2, how restriction creates true freedom. And number 3, why financial mastery works exactly like skill training or gym training. So, firstly, foundations. I go to kickboxing classes, right? And the first thing I'm taught as a beginner is you learn the proper stance, you learn the proper alignment before you move on to any advanced punching or kicking techniques. And you're made to practice these basic stances, these basic forms over and over again first. If you think back to the oak tree example, the oak tree develops large, deep roots first before growing tall. That's why it can withstand any storms that topple faster growing trees, right? Finances and your personal finances work in exactly the same way. You need proper foundational alignment first before pursuing advanced strategies. Now, what most people do is they sort of skip the basics and jump straight for all the complex, fun, shiny stuff like investing strategies and buying this rental property and doing this, doing that. You're trying to build a penthouse before laying the foundation for the building itself, right? The result is that you live a life full of financial instability that can't handle external pressures. If anyone's in this position, I'd recommend following these exact steps. First, establish a £1,000 starter emergency fund. No investments at this point, no crypto, no optimizing, just put £1,000 into a basic account that you can access immediately to serve as a starter emergency fund. Secondly, if you're employed, I'd then contribute to your employer workplace retirement scheme up until the employer match that is offered. This is free money that your company gives you, right? And they're contributing towards your retirement up until the match. And I really think you should consider it as part of your overall yearly remuneration package and not leave it on the table and take advantage of that free money that they're giving you, even at this early stage. Thirdly, this is where we eliminate all high interest debt. So we're talking credit cards, personal loans, buy now, pay later scheme loans. Anything above 7% interest rate gets classed in my book as high interest debt, and you need to have all of this out of your financial life before we even consider investing further. Step 4 is you'd now build a fully funded emergency fund. Now this would be, as the common wisdom goes, 3 to 6 months of your fixed monthly expenses at a minimum. If you're slightly more risk averse, you can even go more than this. Only after we've tackled these 4 foundational steps and you have all of this in hand, are we ready to start investing for long-term goals via tools like a stocks and shares ISA in the UK or a Roth IRA or HSA account if you're in America. Now, as you go through this, the sequence might feel slow and it might feel, boring in comparison to, the actual fun of putting your money to work and building wealth. But it's not about limiting your future potential, right? It's ensuring that your future potential has something solid to stand on. The person who builds wealth slowly and with strong foundations will outlast someone who speeds through this, ignores their foundations, and has to, borrow money to cover emergencies in the future. You're not just building money here, you're building a financial system that external circumstances cannot destroy. Now, you might think that this feels a bit restrictive. Where's the freedom in following such rigid rules, right? And this brings me to my next point, and probably a little counterintuitive, but it's sort of the paradox of financial freedom, right? Now, if you look at monks, Tibetan monks, for example, like the Dalai Lama, they spend their lives living in a monastery. Monastery life imposes countless restrictions on monks. They have to wake up at certain times, have meals at strict times, strict daily schedules, strict exercise schedules, meditation schedules, all these things. Initially, for monks, this would feel very limiting. But over time, these restrictions create an unshakable inner balance for all these monks that any external circumstances can't disturb, right? Financial freedom, in my book, operates on the exact same principle. It doesn't come from unlimited, unrestricted, uncontrolled spending. It comes from intentional limitations that create general control and margin in your life. When you impose boundaries on your spending and consumption, when you make sure that every month you are saving and investing a certain proportion of your money each month, this is how you gain real freedom of your financial life. So how do we do this? Like I said, implement automated systems that restrict immediate spending for portions of your take-home pay. Set up separate savings and investment accounts where money goes to like the day you get paid or the day after you get paid each month, so that before you can touch it, it's already working for you in the form of being added to your emergency fund, going to your investment account, being saved for specific savings goals, like maybe you want to take a big holiday or you're saving up for a wedding. This isn't deprivation, right? It's creating a financial infrastructure that works regardless of your mood, your emotions, your impulses. Linked to this, you should practice voluntary simplicity in specific categories, right? So how do you do this? You choose one area of spending. Maybe it's entertainment, maybe it's dining out, maybe it's subscription services, and impose a clear boundary or rule for yourself. You could say, for example, I'm only going to spend £200 max per month on eating out or ordering takeout into my house, and the rest of the time I'm going to cook food at home if the alternative means I cross this £200 limit. By doing this, you set yourself a clear rule and you reduce decision fatigue, right? You decrease your financial stress, and it helps you redirect your core resource, which is your money, towards meaningful priorities, aka your future self. Here's what happens when initial discomfort transforms into profound relief. When you eliminate financial chaos through this self-imposed structure, you discover what real freedom actually feels like. You stop feeling anxious about money and bills. You stop checking your bank account to see if you have enough money so that you're not going into your overdraft. You make spending decisions from a place of full intention rather than from impulse. External financial pressures lose their power over your emotional state. And then this restriction eventually becomes liberation, because this money that you're restricting yourself from spending now becomes money that future you can spend later freely. The boundaries that you set up become the walls that protect you from external stress and guarantee your own financial peace and security. Then the question becomes, how do you maintain this discipline consistently? It could be easy to do for 1 month, 2 months, but how do you do it for years at a time, years, decades? How do you develop the skills needed for long-term financial mastery? Financial literacy, financial mastery, like anything else, is a skill, right? And your current skill level in anything reflects exactly how much you've consistently practiced it. So if you look at your daily activities, you'll see what skills you're actively developing. This applies to your money, right? Financial literacy isn't some innate talent that you're born with. It's a skill set you develop through consistent practice. And here's what most people miss, right? You're already practicing financial behaviors every day. They might be good, they might be bad, but you are practicing them. The question is, which ones are you currently practicing and developing? Are you practicing overconsumption, putting your head in the sand, ignoring your problems, spending willy-nilly, racking up credit card debt just to fund a lifestyle you can't afford? Or are you practicing restraint, frugality, intentional spending, paying yourself first, saving and investing? Like any skill, right, or like a muscle at the gym, the more you practice a workout, the stronger you'll be at it. So, how to practically implement this, right? I would suggest scheduling monthly, some people prefer it weekly or bi-weekly, monthly money reviews with yourself, where you sit and spend 15 to 30 minutes actually reviewing how you've been spending, reviewing your budget, updating your automated amounts that you're saving and investing, getting comfortable with how much you're saving and investing, seeing that are you managing to follow the financial rules that you're setting for yourself. This isn't just boring financial maintenance, right? This is skill development through repetition. If you feel like your financial literacy is lacking in some points, break down complex financial concepts into daily micro practices. If you want to understand investing, watch 5 minutes of investing videos every day, right? If you're unsure about how to go about saving properly, there's so many videos on YouTube about, how you can reduce your consumption, reduce your spending, and put your money to work for you. Like, at the end of the day, financial mastery or financial literacy follows the same laws as any other skill. You'll get the most benefit by small, consistent practice, which compounds exponentially over time, just like your investments will. Most people practice financial stress daily for years, right? Imagine if you practice financial awareness with that same consistency. You're not just managing money, you're developing the cognitive framework that will allow you to create lasting wealth. So, to summarize what we've talked about today, sustainable wealth requires strong foundations before you move on to some of the more advanced and more fun things. We're talking emergency funds and reducing debt here before investing. True financial freedom comes through internal restriction and not unlimited spending. This doesn't mean you can't ever spend on things that you find fun, but it means that your spending has to be intentional. And lastly, money mastery develops through constant practice, constant repetition of the skill of being good with your money. It's not a one-time learning event like I've done this course, now I'm good at money. It doesn't work like that. To circle back to the oak tree example, it grows slowly but surely, but survives most vicious storms, right? If you embrace restriction, you discover freedom. If you practice regularly, you build the skills that you need to manage your money and to build your wealth sustainably. Okay, your future financially stable self is going to be built through today's foundational choices. Yeah, build slowly, build strong, and build to last. Hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, everyone. See you next time.